Listening 40. Listen and read. What kinds of transport do the children see?
At the Museum of Inventions.
Look! Telephones were invented in 1876. Well, look at this mobile phone from the 1970s. It looks like a brick. Look at this car. It was made in the 1880s.
It's only got 3 wheels.
Wow, things have really changed. Look at this bike. How old is it?
It was made in Britain in the 1870s.
Look at the size of that front wheel.
Later,
We still need to come up with some ideas about the car of the future.
Why make a car? How about a bike?
Yes, maybe it could fly to avoid all this traffic. It could be attached to a hot air balloon, and when you push on some kind of device, the balloon fills up.
Wow, that would be an achievement.
Come on! We've still got to do our design. Think of that hot air balloon ride.
Listening 41. Listen and repeat.
build, design, device, discover, experiment, inspiration, invent, machine,
Listening 42. Listen and repeat.
excite, excitement, equip, equipment, achieve, achievement, arrange, arrangement, move, movement, agree, agreement,
Listening 43. Listen and read. Where does chewing gum come from?
In ancient times, people from different cultures chewed gum from trees, but the gum had little flavour. In the 1880s, the Fleer brothers tried to make it taste better. Experiments were done on gum from a tree called the chicle tree. The gum was covered with sugar and named chiclets. Although the brothers' friends and family liked it, the gum wasn't advertised, so other people didn't know about it. Chewing gum wasn't sold until the mid-1880s. Factories were opened. Then chewing gum became popular. Today, many kinds of chewing gum flavours are made, and chewing gum is bought by people all around the world. However, today, chewing gum isn't always made from trees. Some companies use artificial substances instead.
Listening 44. Listen and read. Why can't Chip work?
Why aren't you inventing anything today, Professor?
My computer is being repaired and my laboratory is being painted, so I've got nowhere to work. What's happening in the kitchen?
Well, the kitchen floor is dirty, but the floor isn't being cleaned because your mechanical mop isn't working. Can you fix it?
I'll have a look.
the life.
Listening 45. Listen and read.
The history of the pen.
Over 10,000 years ago.
People used stones to draw pictures on the walls of caves. They also used sharp objects or bones to make marks on clay.
7,000 years ago.
The Egyptians invented paper and also pens to write on it. Pens were made from reeds. Reeds are hollow plants. One end of the reed was cut into a point, or a nib. Then the pen was filled with ink by dipping it into an ink pot to fill up the inside. People squeezed the pen when they wanted the ink to come out.
In the 7th century.
People started using quill pens. Quill pens were made from the feathers of birds. The part which the feathers are attached to is hollow. They worked better than reed pens because they were softer and you could squeeze them more easily to make the ink come out. They could also be washed and dried and used lots of times.
In the 10th century.
The first fountain pen was made in Egypt. The pen held ink in a reservoir inside the pen, and the ink travelled down to the nib. It wasn't necessary to dip the nib into an ink pot, so they were cleaner to use. However, sometimes big drops of ink came out of the pen and ruined the paper.
1938.
Laszlo Biro invented the ballpoint pen. It had a tiny ball in its tip, which rotated as it moved along the paper and picked up ink from a cartridge inside. It worked well because big drops of ink couldn't come out, so it was better because the paper could not be ruined.
1965.
The space pen was invented. The space pen can write underwater, upside down, in extreme temperatures, and at zero gravity. For this reason, astronauts use them in space. This pen can do everything. But who knows what pens will be invented in the future?
Listening 46. Listen to the children. Which 4 inventions do they talk about?
I think the most important invention is the telephone. Before the telephone, people had to travel to speak to each other, or they had to write a letter. But now, we can just pick up the phone and speak to our friends and family, even if they live far away.
I think that the aeroplane is the most important invention, because you can travel so quickly. You can fly to the other side of the world and see really amazing places that people couldn't see before. You can understand how different people live and see so many amazing things.
I think paper is the most important invention. Before paper, people wrote messages into stone. The stones were very heavy to carry. Paper was much better. And we know a lot about things that happened in history because they were written on paper. That's really important.
I think the computer is definitely the most important invention. You can find information on the internet really quickly. You can write things on it and save and change your information. It has completely changed the way people do things in offices and in schools. I do lots of my homework on the computer now.
Listening 47. Listen and order the lines. Sing.
Who invented ice cream? Sweets and chocolate bars. Who designed the bicycle and planes and trains and cars? visits to the sea? Who invented DVDs and programs on TV? Who built all the hospitals, the shops and all the schools? Who did all these things because